everybody. This is Ballin with Bill here. First of all, I want to thank Sideline Power for being a great sponsor, and also Sports Boards. I appreciate everything they've done and helped out with Ballin with Bill. Today I had a great time and visiting with Reed Manstedt from Waverly High School. This is a great interview. I hope you enjoy it. He was very knowledgeable, and I hope you enjoyed the show and have a good time with it. Thank you.
Hey guys, Mark here with Sideline Power. Today I'd like to talk about our digital piggyback system. Equipped with 2 HD camcorders, the remote control device allows for one person to do what you can't even do with 2 extremely capable interns.
That sun is really bright today.
I don't think these cameras work.
For example, the piggyback system allows for users to record 2 camera angles with the press of only one button.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
3.
Wait, on 1 or go?
On 1. Who goes on go, you idiot?
The tripod head swivels, which makes getting consistently fluid shots a breeze.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a little more smoother, please.
I'm trying. Mark swivels so much easier.
A little right.
The entire piggyback system fits into a compact, heavy-duty travel case, making it extremely easy to pack up, take with you on the bus to away games, whatever you need to do. Wow, you guys are actually being helpful for once?
Yeah, the sooner we're done with this, the sooner we don't have to do anything.
You guys already don't do anything, come on.
Your key returners you're all excited about this year.
Oh yeah, we got a couple of them. You know, I'll start with senior running back Preston Harms, starting point guard on the basketball team. Real good player for us. Came on strong last year. You know, he started the year injured, and so he actually didn't get to play until week 3 was the first time that he got to see any varsity action, and then we switched in positions from receiver to running back, so there was kind of an adjustment period. But once he finally hit his stride towards the end of the year, you know, he was averaging over 130 yards of offensive production.
Wow.
The last couple games of the season against really good teams, and so he's going to definitely be a big key feature for us going into next year. A young man who is just a really, really good football player for us, both sides of the football, and Preston plays both sides of the ball too. He starts for us at corner as well, is Cooper Skrobecki. And Cooper's a 6'2", 220-pound linebacker, and just as I mean, he's going to be one of the best football players, regardless of who we play, every time we step on the football field with
One
the
of
team.
those kids.
Just one of those kids. At quarterback, we got a young man with some starting experience in Trey Jackson. You know, he's as smart a football player as I've ever coached. You know, we definitely have some big holes to fill. Up front, we do return one starter with Grant Sindelar up front, and he's going to anchor our offensive line, but we do got some big holes to fill up there too.
Gotcha. When you're talking to them, to help separate them from the rest of the pack that you play. I mean, it's hard, I know, because it's so dang competitive. Well, what do you tell them? What do you get across them in their hearts to make them feel this?
Well, you know, I've been a part of 1-8 teams. I've been a part of 8-1 teams. So what I can tell you is, and I've had a lot of people ask me, you know, what's the difference between teams like that? And it's just, you know, it's really interesting, but kids got to believe in themselves, and they got to believe to win, and confidence is a really huge thing. And unfortunately, in those 1-8 seasons, it just seems like whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And a lot of the times in those seasons where, you know, you go 8-1, a lot of things that can go right do go right, and a lot of that has to do with just the kids believing in themselves and having that confidence that every time they step on the field they're going to win. And the only way to do that is to win. And so and I know that's a tough thing to do, but you know, one of the things we definitely try and install in our kids and make them believe is you know, we just want them to play hard. You know, win, lose, draw, I always tell our kids that if you do nothing else right all game, just go play hard. And you know, we want to have that mentality that, you know, if you're going to play Waverly, win, lose, draw, we know we're going to be sore the next day, you know, and we all kind of have those teams in our mind that you think of that are that way. You go, God, they may not be the best this year, but we know we're going to have played a football game tomorrow. Plattsmouth's very much that way, as far as confidence. But the other thing that we have that I truly do believe is a huge thing with our kids is belief in themselves, and that's our weight room. we instill a lot of toughness in there through our head strength coach, Anthony Harms. He pushes those kids in there, really gets them to believe in themselves, gain some confidence in themselves and what they can accomplish in there. And I do think that transpires into all our sports. Class B is a gauntlet. It's a grinder. You can have
This area has totally changed. Class B. I mean,
yeah.
These schools. I mean, so many Class B schools compared to the past.
Oh yeah, there's so
they're
many good ones. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not. I can't. I mean, nobody's bad anymore. Nobody's is poorly coached. I mean, you got to bring your A game every week. I mean, there is no off weeks, and so. You gotta have numbers, and so that's something that we kind of strive for, and especially if you want to compete against the Benningtons, the Elkhorns, those almost Class A type teams, so it's just crazy to think, but I think one of the things that we have going right now is that youth program, and so that's a really big kind of big thing that I think is big to our success. And obviously we've been successful, and success breeds success, and so kids enjoy being a part of a successful program, and we've been able to maintain kids and keep them out and maintain those numbers, and so that's definitely been fun to see.
Questions left. One I want to ask you, and I know this, but I want the listeners to hear this. You're kind of giving me your base philosophy on offense and defense.
Yeah, I'll start with defense. On defense, we're a 3-4 team, and we run a lot of, so we're a 3-4 high pressure defense is what I would say. We like to bring pressure. I think that there's two styles of defense. There's sit back and react, and then there's high pressure. We want to blitz you, and there's not one better than the other. It's just more what suits the defensive coordinator in his belief and his his mindset. And I'm one that I like to bring pressure, and we're going to give up big plays, but we're going to get big plays type thing. And so we run a 3-4. We blitz a lot. We run a lot of man coverage. We run a lot of palms coverage. So we kind of hang our hat on those two things. We do a lot of stunting. I will say this, we're a very sound defense. For as many things as we have moving parts, we are always gap sound. We don't have hardly any scheme where there isn't a gap that is accounted for. Yeah. You get sometimes people are doing stuff and it's not always sound, and our stuff is sound. Where it should be, I should say, but it's
they go to the right spot.
It's supposed to be sound.
Yes. There's sometimes go, how did we create that hole?
Yeah, and so and we've ran the same defense going into 4 years, and there's an identity to it, and our kids know it. They run it at the youth level, the middle school level, the freshman level, and the high school level, and I think that has a lot to do with the success we've had on that side of the ball. Along with some really great football players. And on offense, the last couple of years we've been very much a power spread is the term I would use. We're running a power style of football, but through trips, doubles, pro, as well as our heavy sets. And that's going to continue into this year, but it is going to look a little bit different. Where when we as a staff sat down and thought, what do we need to do to take another step to improve? That was one of the things that we really sat down and talked about, and we're going to incorporate some new formations this year and use some guys differently than we have in the past. We're not running a bunch of new run plays, but we're going to run them out of a bunch of different sets and do some different stuff like that. So we gotta kind of adapt in that sense. And so and I think too, we got to play to our team strengths. We're not going to have the bruisers up front that we had last year. We're going to have a very good
some losses last year.
We did, and we got some really good young men coming back in the O-line that I think are going to do a great job. But I can't ask them to do the same stuff we asked the kids to do last year. That's not fair to them.
You've been a good sideline power customer. Tell us a little bit about the coach pad. What do you use it for, and everything like that?
Yeah, no. So we've used a lot of different stuff of you guys. The coach pad, I can speak on. So we did a 7-on-7 just last week. We're hosting a 7-on-7 league at our place, and we got quite a few new concepts going in this year. We got a new gentleman on our staff this year who brought in a lot of pass game stuff, and one of the things that he was able to do was create all those plays on huddle and transport them onto our coach pad. And seeing it for the first time, I was a little bit like, okay, we'll see how this works. But I tell you what, that was such a great teaching tool for us to have out there and to use on the field, so kids can actually just see, and you can swipe and do stuff, and everything's clean looking. that's definitely something that we really enjoyed, and we even talked about, and that we need to get more of them. And we had coaches from several other schools come up to us and say, hey, how do you like that? What do you think about it? Can I see it? And so definitely a great product for us.
Hey guys, Mark here with Sideline Power. Today I'm talking with Coach Scott Strohmeyer with Iowa Western Community College. Coach, what's your relationship with Sideline Power?
We had a clinic here and they had a booth and was introduced to some of the products. Purchased the drone, the Mavic 2, and then also purchased the laser downs.
What sort of things do you do with your drone?
Well, it's everything in practice. We do from drills to our team settings. We create our practices or our practice plans around it.
How does it change your coaching as far as, using it to review with your players, with your other coaches?
Well, I'll tell you what, we do 3 views still, but we really only watch one, and that's the drone. When we get the whole view in, nothing's cut out. We can see depths of routes and where guys' eyes are. The quality is unbelievable.
So with that being said, would you recommend, drones for other schools, other programs?
It's been great. I 100% recommend it. We'll look to purchase another one, and that's all we're going to use for practice. You guys have been amazing, and when I call with questions, you're there to answer them.
Thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it.
How do you feel?
Welcome back to Sideline Power here. We got Coach Manstedt on the board here. Tell us, first of all, what are the main offenses you see here at when you play during your season?
Yeah, well, it kind of changes week to week. I will say this. Class B used to notoriously, when I first started coaching back in 2011 and stuff like that, very much everybody wanted to play in a phone booth. You know what I mean? You had Crete still running. A lot of their base set was our Maryland Eye. You had Waverly at the time running a Wishbone. You had Norris running a Maryland Eye. You had Scott still running what they do today, which is a pro set. And you had all these different schools that were very much so Maryland Eye, old school pro. It was. And so the game's evolving in the sense of teams are spreading people out and stuff like that. And so some of the most basic formations that we see is just a doubles and a trips formations. And, those are probably some of the most basic ones that we'll see, doubles, trips. To be honest with you, there'll be games where we don't see a tight end the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, depending on the opponent that we play. And then there's other games where you're going to see one every time that their offense comes out. And so you kind of got to be able to prepare for everything.
Go ahead and give me your base, how you line up versus the spread with, what would you call it, with tight end and the slot. What do you call it, 10 personnel?
Well,
what do you guys call it?
So,
with a tight end.
Yep. What I'll do here, Coach, is I'll draw up I can
there
draw
you go.
a bunch of different
What
formations.
do you call that?
This one right here, well, we call a lot of different stuff. We call it pro twins.
Yeah.
You got pro on this side, twins on this side, and so.
Because you go tight end, that's what is that called a lot of times? You have the tight end, you got a slot, and one back. So it's
some people,
11?
Yeah, 11 personnel.
Yeah.
So 11 personnel, the number of tight ends and backs on the backfield.
So 11
so a lot of
personnel.
people call it 11 personnel, stuff like that. We don't refer to a lot of that
Two
stuff.
tights is
21 personnel.
Yeah.
Or some people even call it 12 personnel. I've heard it called both ways.
Too. And then if it's doubles, it's 10.
Yep, you got 10 personnel.
Okay.
Yep, 0 tight ends, 1 running back. So, again, I did a great job of drawing this towards the top here, so I'm going to condense my defense. But essentially, a couple different things. When we do this different stuff, we have rules built into our defense, which I don't want to give them all away.
No, don't do that. Just your base,
like
Coach.
that. But, and a lot of times, anytime we get a tight end, we like to roll up on it. And so we do run 9 techniques. So we have our outside linebackers. We got Rovers and Wills. And so he's going to roll up on the outside shoulder of that,
Mm-hmm.
And then our defensive tackles. All right, so I'll get our TNT built in here. All right, so we're going to see a lot of that action.
What technique is he in now, Coach?
So those defensive tackles are in head fours, and then what that gap responsibility has is dependent on kind of what the offense is in. Are they going to go to the C gap? Are they going to go to the B gap? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Our middle linebackers are going to stack over top the guards. So we got our Sammy, which is our strong, and our Mike, which is our weak. All right, they go stack over our guards. And one of the things we usually tell as a good key with that is I tell my Mike linebackers, we want you at 4 yards depth. I want your inside foot on that guard's outside. So it kind of puts them head up in that B gap, but we want them. That's kind of our rule of thumb. We say we want your inside foot on that guard's outside foot. So that's kind of our rule of thumb there with that. Our will linebacker, he's always going to go away from the pass strength here. And so he's going to be right there. We like him 4 yards off the ball, 1 yard inside that number 2 out there.
Okay.
And then our corner and then our free safety are going to be over here, and our strong safety and our corner are going to be here. And so this is just a very basic base alignment. Coverage wise, we can run man. We can just go man for man. We can run, depending on the pressure that I got coming there as well. Like if we want to send our will or blitz our Mike and we get more into a pressure heavy set, we're going to probably want to run more man with that so we don't have any holes in his zone. We can run our quarters coverage, which is our cover 4.
Is that your base? Is that your base when you
Base is
first start
palms.
teaching?
Yep, man coverage and palms are the 2 things that we start with.
Explain palms?
Palms is a pattern reading concept,
Okay.
and so
That's what I thought it was.
you'll hear some people call it, quarters, quarter read,
Which
different
is
stuff.
off the quarters type
Yep,
coverage.
absolutely. And so when I think quarters, I think cover 4, true quarters down a field.
Right.
Certain people do different stuff, but we call our quarters cover 4. Oh, excuse me. We call it cover 4, and we call our palms are more pattern reading style. So if you get like a slant there, everything's based off what the number 2 receiver does. So if he's going out, this cat right here, this dude's going to give a you call, meaning hey, you're going to take him, and then he's going to be calling a me, meaning he's going to be taking that.
What does the will do in that situation? Does he squeeze it, or what does he do?
Yep. So what we teach our outside linebackers is, and some people like to teach that you want them to, you're dropping to the flats, and a lot of high school kids, we don't do that a whole lot as far as, telling them depths and stuff like that. What we use a terminology called, we want you pushing to your near threat. And right now his near threat is the number 2 receiver.
Correct.
And if the number 2 receiver goes out, he's looking for the next guy coming in, and we want to push to him. All right. And so if you get 2 vertical routes, that's kind of one that can get a little bit difficult for kids. So you get this right here, this right here. We tell them again, you're pushing to your near threat, and your near threat right now is the number 2.
Right.
And so we want you to push, get hands on him, try to reroute him to the best of your ability, but then also you're just sitting out here. You're not carrying that vertical the whole way. So like I said, we tell them you're in charge of this area out here. We don't give them a whole lot of, you need to get back to 10 and rally up to 2
Does
or
anybody
whatever.
do that anymore? Because they did that
That
back
used to
when
be,
I
yeah.
did that, but that people got away from that type thing.
Right, yeah. Because what you'd end up finding is kids would end up just straight dropping here, and then nobody gets a hand
just
on.
covering grass.
You're just covering grass. And so we teach our kids, you're trying to cover a man inside your area.
Correct.
And so, if your guy goes away, if you get a bubble, slant, push to the slant, sit right there.
Yeah.
Different stuff. And we always we do teach them go high to low, meaning if you get that bubble, because everybody wants that linebacker to fly up on this because they're going to try and hit the window right behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do teach our kids that if your guy bubbles out, you're dropping at a 45 to try and find your next near threat.
Yeah. So what type of scheme scares you the most in this, that when you face this, when you're going out here, other than personnel? I know if somebody's got some studs, you're always concerned about that. But what is the base what people try to do to you, Coach?
Go into a lot of games knowing very well, based off based off our defense. I mean, we may play a team who they've never shown, a power scheme all year, but we're going to see it because of the way we are as a defense. What are we susceptible to? Right. And what we're susceptible to. It's no different than, if we're sitting in this set right here, and I got my nose guard, my tackle, and my rover here. This set right here, everybody likes to try and run some form of belly, right? They want to run where we're going to combo down here up, we're going to pull out, kick, and we're going to go. And so a lot of teams like to try and run a belly scheme against us as well. So there's a lot of different things that each week we know we're going to see based off what we are susceptible to as a defense, which I kind of like, because then how teams are going to most times try and attack you based off of that. Where your defense is vulnerable, and so you kind of know what to scheme towards. But it's like anything. We run a lot of palms coverage too, and so one of the things that we've been seeing more and more, and when we first started running this, people weren't doing a lot of this, but you're seeing it more and more. But if you got palms coverage here, and I'll just go with our.
Now your rover's in the alley versus no tight end.
Yeah, right? Yep. And so, he doesn't have a tight end, so he's back here. You know, if we're here, one of the things we set up with people trying to run somebody down the chute.
Right.
You know, and that's that
arrow
'cause-
vertical on you right there.
You know, in cover 2 and in this, you know, pattern reading concept of palms, that middle of the field's almost always. And if you get a middle linebacker here who is responsible for that kid, and he gets bit up hard here, which we've had happen multiple times, or just gets lost in it, you know, you're open. And
You're actually cover pretty good athlete.
yeah, oh heck yes, yeah. Our Sammy's got to be a dude. I was talking about that Skrebecki kid earlier, and that's our Sam, and that's one of our best football players. And
Does anybody try to run on you?
depending on, you know, we've been very blessed the last couple of years with some really good defensive linemen.
Okay.
And so
you got 5 on 5. You know,
it's 5 on 5, and if they want to run with their quarterback or anything like that too, that adds another element to the run game. You know, that's why people love to run with it. These rovers and these wills have to be really, really good at reading this tackle. And
So their technique is to read the tackle.
Yep, so they're out there at 4 yards depth. If the quarterback's over here, they got eyes, shoulder square, eyes on the tackle, and we have this method called cutting grass, and that's just they take 2 quick pop steps, and that's just
Right.
them taking a read at that. And if that tackle is doing run, then they are flying up here, all right, to help with that. Now,
Yeah, which helps.
Which is where the game's evolved, because now you see teams running, you know, RPOs, right? They wanna get this tackle and guard to go pull over here to look like something, and then they're gonna run a bubble screen out here because they're trying to play with this kid right here. And
I mean,
that's why
that's what people do now.
right, but that's also why the palms coverage is so good, or your man, because it really does take away.
It helps that.
It helps with RPOs. It really does.
Yes, just what's the difference between palms and cover 4 in your teaching?
But in our quarters coverage, I won't even put the line in there, but let's just say we're in our quarters here, so we're gonna go free, strong, and then we'll have our corner rover. Sam, Mike, Will. All right, in our quarters here, what everything we do is based off, and this is wrong here. I want these guys, I have them in their palms technique, their inside leverage in our quarters.
So you're talking palms right now.
So yeah, palms is our pattern reading concept.
So it's the same as cover 4.
Yep, no, not necessarily.
That's
the way
what I'm
we
trying to
teach
get
it.
at here.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the way we teach it's different. So
Can I ask you, are you outside technique then when you're in 4?
when we are in palms, we have our butt to the sideline.
Okay.
He is sitting at 6 yards, butt to the sideline, read number 2. When we are in our quarters coverage,
Quarters. I
what
say
I
4.
call,
I always call it 4 quarters.
right,
Okay.
yep. When we
Okay,
in
your
our
quarters.
Yep, we are sitting in inside leverage, and then we're still eyeing number 2 as well. We just got
So
a little
same
bit different.
lineup then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, just base alignment's a little bit different with what we're asking him to do. Also, too, in our quarters, which is our cover 4, we do not bring hardly ever these outsides because we're trying to run a true zone.
Right.
And if I'm trying to run a true zone, I don't like to blitz in my outsides because I'm leaving a gaping hole out here in the hook curl / flat.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the things that we teach when we teach our kids, we're going to actually install it here tomorrow going forward. But when we call our cover 4, our quarters coverage, we want everything's got to happen in front of us. You know what I mean? So we're encouraging very much so. We want they're going to run a key out here, throw the ball here. Great. We want to rally to it. You know, this is something we don't run a lot of, a cover 4, but when we do, we want the ball to get caught in front of us. If you're beating us on vertical routes in cover 4, we're wrong.
Right.
You
You're
know
trying
what I
to
mean?
get your
We're
depth
trying
so
to
you
get
can't beat us vertical.
Correct. Because that is one of the things that teams try a lot against us is a lot of vertical routes, just because post routes, corner routes, because of our palms and our man coverage.
And honestly, anytime you see 2 safeties, that's where you want to go.
Right. And a lot of people say, well, what's the difference between this and our palms and this and our palms? We're trying to keep everything in front of us, where in our palms coverage, we're pattern reading. So if you would get this action right here, my corner's going to jump on it, and my safety's going to come up and attack this. In a cover 4, if they would want to throw this bubble out here, the corner's bailing back. The outside linebacker is going to be the one who gets there to help out.
You're right.
To try to keep that. So
I'm going to ask a question here. I'm coaching Scott.
Okay.
What does he do to beat you?
Oh, geez, Matt. Yeah.
What is Matt? I look at you two. You've had some great games together, the two of you.
Yeah.
Both playoffs,
Seems like
regular season,
Yeah.
and they're exciting and they're great defensive battles. So
Yeah.
I'm him. What is he going to do to you?
Well, he's going to run his power, or they're going to run their blast, or they're not going to pull their backside guard. They're going to run their blast, kick us out, wash us down, which they're so good at. They're going to run their bellies, and he's going to run his veer.
He loves the belly and veer,
That devil hit him and his brother. They always throw one formation at me that we haven't seen. I always give him a hard time for that too. I always joke in our semifinals. My first year there, they had a formation that we call it bastard, because I said those bastards. No, I'm not drawing up for you. Then everybody will run it. No, and so I gave them a hard time about it. But yeah, so I mean, literally, the name of the formation's bastard, because I'm just like, oh, those bastards. That's a great formation. And so it's a different. You can always expect. I tell you what, they've always got a few wrinkles. They had a couple of this last time we played them, but they're always going to stick true to what they do. They're going to run belly. They're going to run blast. He's going to run his weak side veer. He's going to see how.
What's his favorite pass play?
So they're out of their pro, and this is where if you're a really, really good run team, and Coach Turman, if you see this, man, I apologize. I'm not going to do this thing justice here, but if they're sitting at, so one of his favorite ones is they like to get into and he'll run this out of multiple sets, but they're here.
Yeah, that's him right there.
Yep. So they'll get into this, and they like to run veer. They'll run their belly back here.
They like to run veer here.
Yep. They like to run their veer back here, and I'm not going to do this thing justice, but essentially they're going to pull, and he's going to give one hell of a play fake over here somehow, and then the quarterback's going to boot back around, and it's just they got different levels taking place.
It sucks
there
up your linebackers and this sucker.
Yeah. Believe me, in any scout book I have that plays Omaha Scud, this play's drawn up, or they have
play
their
ran
play
many times by
action.
him. Yes.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Especially, they're going to run different stuff, and then they're just a standard blast pass. They got us on the goal line in the semifinals with this. If you can run blast really well, where all you're doing is washing down and kicking out, and then all of a sudden you just leak this guy. That's really a tough one.
That's hard on your rover and
your
linebacker.
And that's another one they have that's really good. I mean, obviously they had a really good thrower as well last year.
Yeah, they did.
They had a really good quarterback in general. He's good at running the veer as well. But that was one of the things that they were able to do was they were able to spread the ball out a little bit more in some of their spread sets. That they got them out of some of this type stuff and more into some of their doubles and trips, and did a really good job with it. But he's gonna, against us, he'll go double tight as well. Try to get those nines and just see. So
get the 2 9s, yeah.
Yep, be able to run belly, either way as well. He likes, anytime they're under center, they're gonna be, they kind of made a living trying to get into this formation right here against us. They would run this right here a lot against us, that one right there, and then knowing that we're going to slant our nose strong, he's going to run his weak side belly over here. So you got a Will here, or a Mike here, cornerback here, but you got a great belly play right here, because you're going to go combo here, up, kick, and away you go, and then boom. Does a lot of stuff too, where they run a quarterback follow. You're here, and if you got a nose that slants here, he does a hell of a job of, they teach that veer, they go here, boom, and then he just hits this, kid's going here, Will's here, and he hits this gap on the backside too.
Kind of like a midline almost.
Yeah, almost like they do a really good job of, they kind of teach their quarterback to be really patient on it, and then there's just
let everybody go by him.
Oh yeah, yep. Or he'll follow, and it becomes like a quarterback ISO, if you will. He just follows this fullback right in. And so those are great plays, yeah. I mean, they're so well coached over there. And the thing that I always appreciate is what you're going to get when you play him. It's just, can we stop it?
Right.
I mean.
And he's done it for so many years. He's advanced since then, but he still gets back to his base. We played each other 4 times. You played each other when you were Creek too, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think 2 times when I was there, or 3 times total. 2 when I was maybe an assistant, 1 as the head coach, I forget. But we've gone overtime twice, and then another one was 17-7 at ours, and then we played each other in the semifinals, and that was a good game.
Always awesome games.
Yep,
Awesome, great games.
We don't play each other this year. If we do, it'll be in the playoffs. So.
Yeah. Good chance you could see each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully further down the line. Hopefully it's not a first round game or something like that.
Yeah. I'm here with Reed Manstedt from Waverly High School. And I've known Reed, since I was at Dana. And you played linebacker there for him.
I did, yep.
A very good one. You were all conference, weren't you?
Yeah.
I know he was. I voted for him. And when you went into a game against Reed, you always had to know where he was at because he's such a good football player. And he played the pass. He's one of the linebackers because in our conference at that time, we threw the heck out of it, which you know.
Yeah. Yep.
And you had your tongues hanging out in the game. We not beat you up by the end of the game, though. You've been running all the place. We were one of the first teams not to huddle.
Yep.
And Coach was good. He was a heck of a football player. He was fast. He was great in coverage. So we always had to worry about him. Our quarterbacks, Tommy and Mark, always worried about where he was at and everything. So he was a fun guy to play. And we always said, because it didn't matter our record. We could be 0-9, and they could be 9-0 and head to the conference. That game would still go down the wire.
Yeah,
it was a great game.
Great rivalry.
And a great rivalry. And Coach was tough, good athlete. And so when he got into coaching, you realized that's who you were. When I first realized you were a Crete, I was like, I remember playing against that guy, coaching against that guy. And we probably had the two worst locker rooms too in the conference. When you go visit, the one out there at the stadium, the one at our place. Compared to everybody else.
Oh, absolutely. It just was, and I assume I haven't been up to a game in Fremont in a while, but I assume they maybe did some remodeling of it at the
hopefully
at
Jeff
Memorial
did some.
State. Yeah, I don't know where, but hopefully they did because those were.
We're right on top of each other.
Okay.
It was both of our locker. I mean, they were, and we'd be right on top of each other on both of them. It was tough, but it was fun and it was competitive, great rivalry, and I always respected Coach and thought he was a great player. And when all conference came to the end of the year, I always didn't have a problem voting for him as all conference team, first team. So great player, and it was great to see what you're doing now, Coach. I'm so proud of you, and you're building programs and young men and doing a great job, and I really appreciate that. And it's amazing when you see young men like yourself that you coached against doing so well what you used to do, and it's an honor.
Well, I've had some really good mentors over my years, and I've been very fortunate in that to have some good people kind of lead the way for me and show me. And like I said, I've been very blessed, very fortunate in that side of things to have some really good mentors over the years.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's an honor to coach against you, and it's an honor to watch you coach now.
Yeah,
and I appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And finally, before we finish, I also want to thank Sports Boards and Sideline Power for being a sponsorship for Ballin with Bill. Thank you, and have a great day.